When I'm talking to someone who's looking to buy a house down the line, it could be a few months from now, it could be a year from now, I always get asked, what's the first thing I need to know when it's time for me to buy a house? And you know what? It's natural to think about what's going to be these complicated subjects like housing program, what down payment assistance programs there are, the negotiation process, and how the process of buying a house is. And you know what? It's none of that. It's quite simple. It's the timeline. What's up everybody? This is McKenzie Miya with the Living in Utah channel. If this is your first time to the channel and you want to learn all about what it's like to work, eat, sleep, live, play, topics around buying and selling here in northern Utah, make sure you tap that subscribe button, click that little bell so you're notified every single time we do a new video. And we are honestly helping people every day move and relocate here to Utah, and we absolutely love it. So if you're thinking about moving anywhere in the northern Utah area, make sure you give us a call, shoot us a text, send us an email, days, nights, weekends. We can help make that transition so much easier on you when moving to northern Utah. The thing is, when you're ready to buy a house and you start involving other parties, lenders for pre-approvals, real estate agents that help show you houses or maybe guide you, the fact of the matter is that you're letting someone else at that point dictate your timeline. You may not have been ready to buy until a year from now, but once you have that conversation, you might start to feel a little bit of a push, or you might start to feel that excitement. Well, I mean, it used to be exciting to buy a house, but it's been kind of a hard time right now. But anyways, the point is, today's video, I want to talk about what the timeline looks like for you to help you buy a house. I don't care if you're buying next month or years from now, knowing this is going to be the core of your home buying journey, because having this core knowledge is going to help you plan and prepare. So let's assume right now you're ready, you're willing, and you're able to buy a house. You got cash in the bank, your credit score is solid, your job is solid, and maybe you have a lease coming up in 2 to 3 months. You're like, okay, let's go. I'm ready to buy a house right now. I'm going to assume this is you so I can really describe the perfect timeline of how it all works. But I'm going to throw some wrenches here and there that may or may not be relevant to you, but you have to have a solid base first, because wrenches hurt and we don't want to get hit. The second you decide that you're ready to buy a house, I believe the first thing that you should do is get pre-approved. Now, when you talk to the lender, they're going to essentially do what's called a pre-qualification. Most of the time, they pull your credit, which means they need your social security number and some private information. They'll get some general information about your house, and they'll be able to tell you if you're pre-approved, but they're not going to really know until they get some solid information. So they're probably going to do a follow-up email and request more documentation, statements, and tax records. A few months of pay stubs where wherever sources of funds are coming from, all that good stuff. And once they have all this stuff, they're going to send it to an underwriter, and they're going to overview it to make sure if you qualify. And once the underwriter gives you that seal of approval, they'll give you an official pre-qualification form. Now, it's really important that you get 2 numbers here. A lot of times, if you tell a lender, I only want a payment of this much money, well, they might only give you a pre-qualification for that much. And you might go and waste months of time because you're gonna go look at houses in this price range and not like anything. And you're gonna think, man, if I only qualified for just another $10,000, well, you might have because you told the lender you wanted this monthly payment. That is the qualification that they gave you. So it's really important that you ask for 2 numbers here. Ask the lender what's the pre-qualification for the price range of the payment that you want, and then ask for your max pre-qualification. Now, when you talk to the realtor, you're not going to give them your max pre-qualification. They don't need to know that. I mean, you can tell them, but give them the pre-qualification of what you want to be around. Now listen, this market is crazy. If I get someone looking to buy a single family house, 240 in Davis County right now, I'll just frankly tell them that that's probably not going to happen. And at that point you can say, well, I can go this much higher. Can this work? Then boom, you can make it work out. But a lot of times realtors try to push that price range even without you asking. You have to make sure to really determine if it's just them trying to be greedy or them essentially just trying to genuinely help you out, because believe it or not, an extra $10,000 or $20,000 doesn't really make us that much more money. It's a few $100. So we're not doing it to get more money. We're doing it sometimes to open up your range here, because everybody always starts off with this, and people think that we want you to be somewhere here, but really you have to be somewhere loose in the middle here. This whole entire pre-approval probably takes about a week. It's not too crazy. If you're a super slowpoke, it might take you 2 weeks, meaning that you take your sweet time sending the documents to the lender, or let's say the lender needs some kind of verification of employment from your employer, and then your employers are just dragging you, well then probably it's going to take you close to 2 or 3 weeks. But if you get those documents sent in right away, your employer gets all that information to you right away. I mean, you can be pre-approved within just a few days. Now, there are lenders out there that'll tell you, and I'm looking at you online lenders, just put some information on the form online and then they'll send you an email saying that you're pre-approved. It's not gonna work. If a lender tells you that you're fully pre-approved and they're not asking for a single document, you need to look them square in the eye and give them a stone cold stunner. Maybe they're trying to be nice, trying to get you going, but the reality is you want to make sure that you get a full pre-approval. What's really important is if you get a pre-qualification with a DU approval, meaning it's a desktop underwriter approval. So if you really want to be ahead of the game, it's a DU approval attached. So people, that's going to take you approximately, about 0 to 2 weeks. Now, once you get that pre-qualification form, you are ready to start looking for a house. Now, this is where we're going to get into some wild territory, because I'm not a genie here and I can't predict what's going to happen with your house search. If I assume that you're going to be looking diligently and assuming that you're looking at a price range that's competitive but not so competitive, so if you're looking in a super competitive price range, you could be looking for months. Likewise, you could be looking in a pretty flexible price range and just don't feel comfortable making aggressive offers, so you might be looking for months. Here's the thing, maybe you go out for a weekend or two, just go look at houses, get rid of the shakes, that feeling in your gut and that tremble in your hands when you're finally starting to realize, oh my gosh, I'm gonna be buying a house. And there's gonna be a lot of voices in your head, or maybe if you take your mom and your uncle, because there's nothing that we love more as realtors than having your mom and dad come and literally hate every single house. Now, go on a weekend with your realtor, because odds are you're probably not gonna believe the real estate agent when they tell you that the market is bananas. Once you find one that you love, maybe make an offer. Maybe don't make the offer and then learn from it. Have the realtor find out what was the highest and best offer. That way you can see if these kind of houses receive a certain kind of offers, and there are kind of offers that I need to make for these kind of houses. And then these kind of houses didn't really go that aggressive, so this is the one that I'm looking for. I'm gonna say about 3 to 6 months for your search time. Now, this can really depend on the type of market that you're looking in. You might be watching this and the housing market is great, but right now where I am making this, it's not amazing. So wherever you are right now, just simply do this. What does the market need from you at this moment? And you're gonna quickly learn. Once you go look at a bunch of houses and you do follow-up research on them, and what kind of offers are being accepted in that market, are you able to duplicate that offer or make similar offers? If the answer is yes, then you're in the right market. If the answer is no, then start looking at different houses in a different price range or different quality, or quite frankly, take a break. Nothing wrong with taking a break, but it's that simple. No need to overcomplicate it. So far, we have 2 weeks of the pre-approval, 3 to 6 months of showing time, sometimes less, sometimes more. And once you get your offer accepted, it feels like you just won the lottery. It could be as little as 25 days, it can be 30 days, it can be as much as 60 days. It really just depends on your loan type. It During this next 30-day period, you're gonna be doing your inspections, you're gonna be doing your appraisals, you're doing all the final approvals for your loan, because that's right, you haven't got your approval for your loan yet, which is why I wonder why they call it a pre-approval. You get your final pre-approval when you're in escrow, and you're only qualified before then. So they're gonna start collecting more documents. They're going to run it through a serious underwriter. And then once that 30-day period is done and it closes, you're officially a homeowner. It could be up to 6 to 8 months to buy a house. Now it could be 2 to 3 months if you're really on the ball. But odds are a good average 4 to 5 months of the whole entire process. Now it's really important to remember the following. A lot of people have leases up, or they have their parents helping them out. Remember this, you don't pay your first month's payment right away. You pay 1 to 2 months later. And here's how you figure out what your first payment would be. Whatever month you're in right now, the months that you close in, you don't make a payment till the month after. The month following is when you would make the payment. Now, let's say it's October. Okay, if you close in October, you don't pay a payment in October, November, December 1st is your first payment. Now, it doesn't matter if you close October 1st or October 30th or October 15th. You're still not gonna pay that month. So that's why I say 1 to 2 months later, because if you close at the end of October, it might only feel like a month, right? It might only feel like November, and then you have your first payment in December. And if you close in the beginning of October, it might feel like 2 months. But the reality is if you close at the end of the month, you're gonna pay less in closing costs. That's less money that you have to come up with. But if you close at the beginning of the month, you might have to come up with more closing costs because they charge you a per diem of interest for that month. So if you're willing to pay more in closing costs and you want that extra month, then that's fine. Also, this month that they give you is not really for free. They do eventually collect that interest when you sell the house or towards the end. If you have a day in mind that you're trying to close by, let's say your lease is up March 31st, don't close on March 30th, don't move out in one day, just don't do that to yourself. And yeah, you're like, really? Things happen with real estate, you know? Sellers can have a problem, you can have a problem, lending can have a problem. It's insane. So try to close at least a few weeks before you have to move out. Even if you have extra time, that is much more preferred, because even if you do close a week late, you have that buffer. So I would really say 30 days, but I know some of you guys like to live on the edge, so 2 weeks is fine. But please do not close right on that day. It's not gonna give you enough time. And you never want to move out with just one day. You know that it never works out. Anyways, I hope that this gives you an idea of what to expect when it comes to the time frame it takes to purchase a home. The best thing that you can do for yourself is to be over-prepared. Reach out if you're thinking of making the jump to buy or sell, and ask me questions on how to make your situation easy and seamless. The only way that we can help you is that you have to reach out to us. Give us a call, shoot us a text, send us an email, days and nights. We can help make that transition so much easier on you when it comes to buying and selling here in Utah. All right, guys, until the next video, we'll catch you later.